What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Young Roman. I'm back with another reaction video. Today we about to react to some quick, some fast Roombas from 5 billion household icon to bankruptcy. Now, before we start this, I just want y'all to know I appreciate you and I hope you're doing blessed. I hope you're having a good day. Today what I want to talk about before we start this video is just believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Make sure you don't let nobody knock you off your pivot. Make sure you don't let nobody stop your grind or don't like do your grind just because what other people have to say. And trust yourself. You know, my thing is, we'll probably get into it more later, but you know, if you have a trying man, if you have a hardworking man, make sure you show that man that he's appreciated, because if not, he will be appreciated somewhere else and you're gonna feel stupid. Anyways, let's get straight into it.
In January 2021, shares of iRobot, the company behind Roomba, hit a record high. For decades, they dominated the industry. Roomba wasn't just a product name, it was what you called any robot vacuum. They controlled 75% of the market, enjoyed high margins, and had an ambitious plan to map the interior of every home in America. But today, their stock trades at less than 50 cents, and on December 14th, the company filed for bankruptcy.
Poor company. What are these robot vacuums? I've seen about them. But only rich people got stuff like that. We'll be rich soon. You'll be rich soon too. Follow your dreams, not playing with you.
This catastrophic downfall involves billions in losses, several lawsuits, and a blocked $1.7 billion acquisition. This is the story of how a household name went from revolutionary innovation to the forgotten auction block in just a few years. iRobot's rise to becoming a household name didn't actually start in the living room. It started in 1990 at the MIT Artificial Intelligence Lab.
1990.
Founded by three roboticists, Colin Angle, Helen Greiner, and Rodney Brooks, the company was originally called IS Robotics. And their first customers weren't homemakers, it was the army. You see, for the first decade, iRobot was a defense contractor. They introduced the PackBot, a tank-like tactical robot used by the US military to dispose of bombs in Iraq and Afghanistan.
That's lit.
The problem with these types of robots was that their sales volume was low. Due to their niche use cases, the military would only order a few units, making it very difficult to sell enough to cover the massive research and development costs. That's when they got a revolutionary idea. In 2002, the company made a pivot that changed consumer electronics forever. They took the complex navigation algorithms from their military bots, stripped out the expensive sensors, slapped on a vacuum motor, and launched the Roomba. Idea was simple, a robot priced at $200 that cleans your floors so you don't have to. Industry veterans scoffed. They thought it was a toy.
They thought it was a toy and it worked. Yo, we're waiting for Mr. Cam to come back. Yeah, my bad, y'all. I ended up unplugging Cam just now. We back.
But iRobot had identified a crucial market insight. People hate vacuuming. By 2004, they had sold 1 million units and people loved it. By
I actually like vacuuming, and am I one of the only people?
2010, the Roomba was a cultural icon, appearing in sitcoms and breaking sales records. iRobot had effectively created a new category of consumer electronics from thin air. Between 2010 and 2016, iRobot was untouchable. They were releasing new Roombas, each better than the previous one. In 2015, they released the Roomba 980. It was the first Roomba with a camera and V-Slam technology. Instead of bouncing off walls like a pinball, it could finally see the room and clean in straight lines. It became their best-selling Roomba to this day. You see, they operated with a business model built on 3 pillars that set them apart. First was the intellectual property fortress. iRobot didn't just build robots, they built a legal wall. They held over 1,500 patents covering everything from how the robot turned to how it docked. If a competitor tried to enter the market, iRobot sued them into oblivion. This allowed them to charge a premium, often $500 to $900 for a vacuum, while keeping cheap knockoffs at bay, and it worked. Second, brand dominance. They became the default. If you bought a robot vacuum, you bought a Roomba. This brand power.
It's like if you buy a phone, you probably bought an iPhone. Dominate the market and make sure no one else can.
Allow them to spend less on marketing relative to their sales because the product sold itself. And third, data mapping. This was their secret weapon. Unlike a standard vacuum, high-end Roombas were building maps of your home. They knew the square footage of your living room and where your furniture was. iRobot pitched this data as the future of the smart home, a vision where the house knew exactly what it looked like. By 2017, iRobot commanded 62% of the global market. They were literally printing money. But this is where things went south. That dominance made them lazy. While iRobot was busy suing competitors and enjoying their high margins, the tech world was shifting underneath their feet. You see, the revolution that killed iRobot didn't come from Silicon Valley. It came from Shenzhen, China. Starting around 2016, a wave of Chinese competitors, Roborock, Ecovacs, and Dreamy entered the market. And unlike previous knockoffs, these weren't cheap plastic toys. They were technologically superior. The problem was navigation. iRobot had bet the farm on VSLAM, using cameras to see the room. It was smart, but it required light to work and heavy processing power. Competitors like Roborock adopted LiDAR, the laser navigation tech used in self-driving cars. It worked better in the dark and mapped a room instantly. While iRobot was releasing incremental updates, competitors were releasing robots that could vacuum and mop simultaneously, wash their own mops, and empty their own bins.
Wow.
All for $200 less than a Roomba. Then came Shark Ninja. In 2017, Shark launched a robot that was good enough for half the price of a Roomba. iRobot sued them, but it didn't matter. Shark captured 20% of the market almost overnight. The Roomba premium evaporated.
Bye-bye.
Why pay $900 for a camera-based robot that gets stuck on cables when you can pay $600 for a laser-guided robot that mops your floor? By 2022, iRobot was bleeding. Revenue was dropping and they were losing market share fast. They needed to change something. In August 2022, Amazon announced a deal to buy iRobot for $1.7 billion. On paper, the deal looked perfect. Amazon wanted iRobot's home mapping data to boost its Alexa ecosystem, and iRobot needed Amazon's deep pockets to subsidize hardware costs and compete with the Chinese giants. Stockholders cheered. The stock shot up.
It didn't work
seemed
though.
like the perfect exit. iRobot would become just like Ring or Eero, an Amazon hardware division. But there was one problem: the regulators. This wasn't 2010 anymore. Governments were terrified of big tech getting bigger. The US Federal Trade Commission, FTC, and the European Commission launched massive investigations. Their argument? If Amazon owned iRobot, they might prioritize Roombas in search results and bury competitors. They also feared Amazon would know too much about the inside of people's homes.
True.
The investigation dragged on for 18 agonizing months. While the lawyers argued, iRobot was left in limbo. They couldn't make big strategic moves because they were waiting to be bought. They couldn't slash prices to fight competitors because they had to protect their margins for the deal. Meanwhile, Roborock and Ecovacs didn't have to wait.
They ain't had to wait
They
about
flooded the
nothing.
market with advanced models. During those 18 months of
They probably took off on y'all.
regulatory purgatory, iRobot sales fell off a cliff. In January 2024, the hammer dropped. The European Commission signaled they would block the deal. Seeing no path forward, Amazon walked away. Amazon paid iRobot a $94 million breakup fee,
Dang.
pocket change for Amazon, but a funeral cost for iRobot.
94 mil.
iRobot stock crashed by 50%.
In a night.
But the financial damage was worse than anyone thought. Without Amazon's cash, iRobot was drowning in debt. They had overproduced inventory during the pandemic boom, expecting sales to stay high. Now, they had warehouses full of unsold robots and no cash to develop new ones.
Damn.
The response was brutal. Colin Angle, the founder who built the company from an MIT lab, stepped down. There were mass layoffs. They fired 31% of their staff, over 350 people, including most of their software innovators.
Everybody's gone now.
In a desperate bid to save money, they outsourced their R&D and manufacturing to a Chinese partner. Think about that. The company that invented the category was now paying a competitor to build their robots for them.
Oh my god.
By late 2025, with sales plummeting and debt maturing, iRobot had no moves left. They filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The plan? Sell the remaining assets to Paisia, their manufacturing partner in Shenzhen. The American icon is now effectively a brand name for a Chinese supply chain. The rise and fall of iRobot isn't just a story about a vacuum company that lost its way. It's a cautionary tale about the high cost of being first. They failed because their business model relied on a single premium identity while the world moved toward commoditization. Tech giants like Amazon and Shark stole their data mapping dream. Overseas manufacturers broke their price advantage with cheaper, faster LiDAR sensors, and the government blocked their only viable exit strategy. In the end, iRobot forced every other electronics company to take home robotics seriously. The Roomba effect put an autonomous machine in 40 million homes and paved the way for a future where robots aren't just toys, but essentials. iRobot saved us billions of hours of manual labor, but in doing so, it sacrificed its own dominance to the very market it created.
Facts.
If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more deep dives into the economics of businesses,
Alright, look, we made it to the end of that video. We about to go get in the next one. Better go rock with the next one. Alright, look, it's getting wrong for real, man. People be really irritating me sometimes, but you know, you still gotta do your thing and just stay motivated and stay locked in, man. I'll see y'all in the next one, man. Peace.